Yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, driving the top production, we're ready to rumble, open sports mic. We got the New Yorkers, Jamie and Joe, and we got the Bear fan, the Bear himself. So, you know what? World Cup, baseball, somebody's having a birthday in a couple of days, and All-Star game. A lot to happen in the sports calendar. Bear, what's up? You might, um, what the heck happened with Germany at the World Cup? Come on, man. You can't. Germany can't even hit penalties for all we know.
Since they won in Brazil, they just, yeah. I mean, disappointment after disappointment after disappointment for the German national team. I mean, there's an ebb and flow to sports, though. So I don't know why people are surprised that Brazil isn't as good as it used to be. Germany's not as good. And while we're seeing teams like Egypt, who today just took Argentina to the wire, or why now we're seeing the Norway. Look what Norway's doing. I'm not surprised by this. The U.S. was doing something good till it imploded. Mexico was doing something good till it imploded. None of this is surprising. It shouldn't be, at least. I mean, people act like it is because France is still being France. Argentina is still being Argentina. Portugal is gone. Uh, I'm not surprised, though, because like you go through these ebbs and flows with your national teams, and people forget it's every 4 years a lot can happen. You get generational shifts between one team to the next, believe it or not. So, I mean, think about it. The next World Cup, Argentina's without Lionel Messi. What does that team look like? Who's the next guy up? Do they have a next guy up? The better example is look at Brazil. Since Neymar became the next guy up, what has Brazil done? Not Jack nor. So, I mean, there is a cyclic piece to all of this. The bigger question with the World Cup is this: why can't Mexico and the United States break out of the round of 16?
Uh,
Why is it the last four World Cups we've gone out the round of 16? Why is it Mexico can't get past the round of 16? What is it with CONCACAF? Because both those teams have immense talent. The United States led all countries in scoring in the first half of the World Cup. Mexico had not conceded a single goal until the round of 16. They're both gone.
Joe,
Very
go ahead
interesting
and answer
question.
that question.
You know what this compares, and I like your analysis there. Kind of reminds me of college basketball, how college basketball used to be. You get these teams that grow together like a team nobody's talking about that we just saw yesterday, Belgium, right? This is an old team that these guys have all been playing together for a long time. And it seems like the same teams like college basketball. You always got Duke, even though they have down years sometimes. You always have Kentucky, you always have Kansas, that kind of thing. It is in the world football here. You always have Argentina, Germany, all these, but they have their ebbs and flows where they've won and then where they have down years like, some of the teams did here. But you get a team like Belgium who these guys have all been playing together for a long time, and that experience could factor in here as we're talking. Now, again, 4 years from now, if a lot of these guys are not with the team and they're too old, maybe they don't even qualify. Who knows?
And
But
to be honest, I don't have Belgium going past Spain. Look, at the U.S. last night just completely shit the bed. It was a completely different team than we saw in the first four games of the tournament. I don't know what was going on with them. They look different. I mean, they really, if you think about it, the first goal was legit. Like, well, actually, that was a mistake too. Every goal they scored was because of lax U.S. defense and easily correctable errors that they were not doing earlier. This game, I thought like it was going to be a good game. I thought the U.S. had a chance to win, but their mental lapses were all four goals. I mean,
Mhm.
the Matt Freeze, I can't kick the ball goal. I mean, I don't know what the hell that was. I mean,
That
they,
might.
they were they were all self-inflicted gunshot wounds. I'm not taking anything away from Belgium because they did look at Belgium did what a good team does. They capitalized on our errors, and unfortunately, we were a plethora of them yesterday.
Yeah. Now, if I was a betting man, which I am, I would take Spain in that game against Belgium, but I wouldn't put it past Belgium to win that and even go to the finals. To be honest with you, I think Spain beats them. But again, I'm just using them as an example. You get a team like that has a lot of veteran players. Even Switzerland, I was watching them today. They've been together for a while. And Colombia, same thing. All of a sudden, these guys that have been good and play all over Europe and stuff, and now just as a unit, played really, really well this entire World Cup. And again, not good enough to win it, but still, this was their time. And now 4 years from now, who knows? Again, maybe neither one of those teams is even in the World Cup. But we'll see.
Jamie, back to Ken's question. We've seen the U.S. bow in round 16, 2010, 2014, 2022, and now 2026. Mexico, for whatever reason, has got a round 16 jinx. What do you think is wrong with the two superpowers of CONCACAF football?
Well, it's really simple. If you look at the U.S. and both Mexico, they're finally transitioning, to the way these other good teams play the game of soccer. Because if you look at what we were doing, and even in 2002, or when we made that run, or 2006 and 2010, we were too much of a defensive, wait and react type of team. But even the last two World Cups where we've lost in the Sweet 16, I think the trajectory is going up, because you're finally starting to see what you got to do to give yourself a chance. You got to have these younger, faster, offensive type of teams, that we're finally starting to do that. I think the last few years, after 20 years of just being a defensive type of team. But I'll tell you what's another step up too is you're not gonna like this, Ken, because I know you're from Chicago. Dealing with the whole but this is another positive thing too, is the U.S. moving their headquarters out of Chicago to Atlanta. Now they got a really nice facility in Atlanta that the Falcons owner chipped in $250 million. And I think it's a facility now that's going to be just as good as any other team in the country. The facility will continue to get better in the next 4 years, and we got a first-class facility now for our guys to train for the next 4 years.
But that's training. They don't train in Chicago. That's just where that's just where our federation has its office in Chicago.
Right.
They've been training in California for the most part. I mean, they did train at the Arthur Blank area as well. But I mean, look, it's not that we have to get younger. We have to get faster. Pulisic has been a ghost as a marquee player for this team for the last two World Cups. I don't even think he is the marquee player, and it's not Balogun either. I think it's McKinnon, who is Jafet. I know I talked to him. Oh, my grandbaby's telling me to talk to my wife. But no, the problem with the U.S. Look, the U.S. had identity. The problem is that we're not used to big games. Like Pulisic has played in big games. McKennie has played in some big games. But as a whole, this franchise, this U.S. franchise, has not played in big games. And Gold Cups don't count. I mean, they're big, but they're not big. They're not UEFA Champions League. They're not UEFA Club World Cup. They're I don't know. We're lacking that. I don't know why, but they just looked nervous yesterday. Like they're lacking that confidence, and that confidence comes from playing in big games and knowing you can win them. And Mexico the same way, right? In Mexico, look at most of the Mexican team plays in La Liga MX. A couple play in MLS. One or two play in Europe, but for the most part, they all play in La Liga. And there's nothing wrong with La Liga MX. Not now, but there's. Your mom will be mad if you're on air. And there's nothing wrong with the MLS except, let me do that so I don't get it. But I don't know, the lack of big games is just what's hurting them right
now. I think America's problem is simple. Those teams 2002 were always great back to front. The U.S. had a great keeper. Remember Tim Howard making 15 saves against Belgium in 2014. The U.S. goalkeeper and defense couldn't hit water if they fell off a boat in Puget Sound last night. I mean, that was
Terrible.
pathetic. And
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Freese was going to be an issue. And, Tim Ream looked like he was 138 years old last night.
I was thinking the same thing.
Matt Freese did not look great before the tournament. He gave up an ugly goal to Germany, one of our last game for the World Cup. And frankly, when one team's got Thibaut Courtois and the other team's got Matt Freese in goal, that's a huge difference.
You know what, though?
Yeah.
Wait, Matt Freese made a phenomenal save to start the game. It's not that Matt Freese was a terrible goalie. He made the one, yes, bonehead mistake. But as a keeper, he's made some really good saves in this tournament, and he's not a bad keeper. Like that first save he made was just phenomenal. Most goalies, that's 1-0. So no, Matt Freese wasn't bad. The back line it needs some help for sure. Matt Freese isn't the issue. Our goalkeeping, Matt Turner, is not even the issue. The U.S. has always had good goalkeeping. That's never been our issue. We've got good goalie. We need a left back, a right back, a center back. We need a strong. Like, look at Canada. Why are they so good when they're good? Because Jonathan Davies is playing, or Alfonso Davies. I'm sorry, I'm thinking corn. Alfonso Davies, when he's in, he's one of the best left backs in the world. We need a better defensive line. It's not the goalkeeping that's the issue. Matt Freese overall did a good job in this World Cup. I don't want to throw him under the bus because of one boneheaded play. He made some phenomenal saves in the round of 32 game.
And I think we would all concur with this, but Christian Pulisic played the worst game of his international career yesterday. I mean, he gave the ball away 11 times in the first half.
They said he was out-dueled, but then I later read a stat that he had 11 giveaways.
That's not good. That's not good enough. And it's like, well, he's not healthy.
They looked better when Gino Reyna was in.
I mean, Pulisic had one good half against Paraguay and then did nothing for out term. And I know Pulisic's dealing with injuries. We know Declan Rice is probably dealing with some kind of a hamstring for England. We know all these guys.
Why not? If Pulisic is hurt, why not go with Gio the whole time? Because they looked so much better yesterday with Gio than with Pulisic.
I don't know, but maybe Christian Pulisic's name is better and bigger than the player is right now.
It is. Yeah. It is right now, but rightfully so. But he had a down year at AC Milan, too. He didn't have a great year. He had a good year, but it wasn't a Pulisic year. No. There's something going on there. I don't know. Maybe he's battling more injuries than we know. Maybe the nonstop. He took last summer off. Maybe that was trying to rejuvenate himself because the batteries are. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, it's not like the dude doesn't have one of the best mentors in football. Zlatan. That's his mentor at AC Milan. I mean, I love Zlatan. If anyone's going to teach you how to get to that next level, it's Zlatan. So I don't know what his deal is. He just didn't perform well. He's maybe got 1 or 2 more World Cups left in him. And look, injuries happen. I get it. Injuries happened last World Cup. When he took the injury in the game where he scored the goal. This U.S. team, the very question is like, is Pochettino going to stay or is he going to go? And if he goes, what next? Because his team actually did have an identity to start this tournament. They lost their identity for whatever reason last night. Mm-hmm. But they had an identity, and it was working. And it was a different style that we could play. No more just run and gun.
One more to everyone. Did the U.S. match exceed or potentially went under U.S. potential? Go around the room. I don't care who starts.
I'll start. I'd say they matched my expectations. I like we said, this is where they go out all the time. And I thought they'd get a little boost from the home soil. I thought that would give them a little bit. I knew this is not a World Cup winning team. but kudos to them because at least they put it in the back of our minds, right? That they're making comments like, hey, this team maybe is a team of destiny and maybe playing in the U.S. And, that at least they had us thinking about it. I think everybody pretty much knew this was not a championship team, but for a brief little while, they had us thinking, how far can they go? But I don't think, again, they had a disappointing game last night, of course. You didn't want to see them go out that way. I would have rather seen them, go out on a heartfelt loss on penalty kicks or something. But, not losing 4-1. But again, I think overall, can we complain? No. But can we think, well, maybe they could have gone a few steps further and, bitter ending? Yes. So that's why I'm saying pretty much right where I expected.
The first 4 games, I was like, okay, like they're exceeding expectation. They were, because in the lead up to the cup, you're like, oh, guys, this team ain't going to win a game. And then when they came out in game 1 with that formation and that style, and when our backups, which I was on a cruise ship watching the game against Turkey, when our backups took their starters to the wire, right? I was like, man, this team might have something. When guys like Zlatan and Terry are saying, hey, this team can go places. I'm thinking, wow, them and Mexico, both these guys were dark horses. I'm like, wow, both these teams could like go deep, semi deep, right? They've got players with skill sets. They got talent. And for Mexico, you don't give up 2 goals in 90 seconds to Bellingham and think you're going to win a game. And then for the U.S., it was like the Bears after the Commanders game, when the Hail Mary game, and the whole Bears organization, the wheels fell off the truck. The transmission dropped a few miles back. That's what it felt like watching this U.S. team last night. You literally watched this team implode. The wheels fell off. They forgot everything they had done the rest of the cup. It was literally like watching a completely different team. So in that aspect, I 100% agree with Joe. Like, yeah, out of round 16, what else is new? Same for Mexico. But on the other hand, the way both those teams played in the first 4 matches, you're like, holy crap, this could be the year that these 2 teams break this round of 16 curse, and at least for the U.S. get to be the first time since 2002 getting to the quarters. Like, get to the quarters, and possibly even the way it breaks out, they could have maybe even gotten, because, like, honestly, U.S. Spain, if we saw the same U.S. team we saw in the first 4 games, and they had won last night, and they were playing Spain, dude, they have a good shot of beating Spain.
No.
Spain has not played great ball this tournament. They barely escaped yesterday.
Well,
They barely escaped themselves. Like it's a winnable game. The first game where you would have gone, I don't know, would have been I would have said France, but geez, France just got taken to the mat the other day in their game, just like Argentina got taken to the mat today by Egypt. That's the other thing about a tournament. It's like the way I put on the morning show is this: it's like the 7-9 Giants. Oh, well, they're not going to be the one in the playoffs. They were 7-9 with a losing record. Your next Super Bowl champion, the 7-9 Giants. You get in that dance, you have a chance. And honestly, if we would have seen the same U.S. team we saw in games 1, 2, and 4 last night, I think they would have had a shot, a relatively decent shot, if they were playing that way, of beating this Spanish team and maybe even giving France a penalty kick game. It would have been that good. I mean, their defense is still their defense, but you didn't care about their defense because they were pressing and they were controlling, and you didn't have to worry about the back line. So, yeah, the U.S. that's what I'm saying. It's like they exceeded, and then they met because they let the wheels fall off.
Now, before you guys share, I just want to say one more thing. This is the difference between this team and a few years ago. They played Belgium a few years ago in the World Cup in the quarters, or no, in the round, same round, I think, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But I said, you know what? I don't think they have a chance to beat Belgium. This was years ago. Last night, I think they're going to beat Belgium. I really do. So that's the difference between this year And
Sorry.
when was that? 12 years ago? I don't even know.
2014, yeah.
It was 12 years ago. I didn't think they had a chance then. But yet going into this game, I really thought they did. And I really thought they were going to win it and then lose to Spain afterwards.
I don't think the U.S. stood a chance. Trust me, Spain would have pulled us apart for 90 minutes. That game would have been ugly. That game would have been like
these games though. Look at this is the part of the World Cup. Why look at the question you first asked, Ken? Why did Germany not do well? Germany's a powerhouse, right? Oh well, Germany should not have lost the game they lost. Spain, dude, they barely get through Portugal, who didn't have a good cup. They barely get through Paraguay. Or no, it wasn't Paraguay. That was who was it? They played in the round 32.
Spain beat Austria 3-0.
Yeah, Austria. They beat Austria 3-0. I mean, okay, you should beat Austria 3-0. But like they have not had their best World Cup. And it's any given Sunday kind of thing. If this US team was playing like they played in the first 4 games, dude, like Spain's beatable. Like honestly, my dark horse now, of course, is Norway. Because Haaland just kills me. He's just happy to be here at this point. They're playing so free. They're playing so free. That's how you win a World Cup.
Jamie, what do you think about the crowd at all these games? Because to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. It could be Colombia, it could be the U.S. What have you noticed about the crowds at all these matches during the World Cup?
They were great, and they even some of the foreign fans were like, wow, these stadiums are great, and they're like, and they were like, they didn't want to go home, they didn't want to go back to their home country because they were like, wow, this is like this is totally different. We were lied to by all the propaganda about this country, and they enjoyed their time here, and they said, I think the crowds were great. We set this I think this overperformed. What was it? 1994, the last time we hosted here.
Yes,
this was better than that.
Hey Jamie, you want to know something funny? 1990 until this year, 1994 was the most profitable World Cup in FIFA history. It's now been replaced by this one. Oh, and guess who's going to host the Cup probably in 12 years if you look at FIFA's guidelines for hosting? Because North America can't host it for the next 2, right?
Yeah.
So next time it's Europe with 3 games in South America, 3 opening games. So they're co-hosts, technically. So the next World Cup after the 100th anniversary, right, which is 4 years from now, 8 years out, they can go to Asia. That leaves only North America eligible for 12 years out. Now, another thing people don't understand is the United States is literally the default location for FIFA for any World Cup that they have to move. So if Qatar hadn't happened, remember when people are talking like, oh, Qatar might not happen? U.S. is always the default. Do you know why? You know why? We have the infrastructure. We've got the stadiums. We've got the hotels. We've got the technology. Everything's done. We don't have to. We're the only World Cup nation state that does not have to build stadiums just for this tournament.
Whereas in '94, we didn't have all those type of billion-dollar stadiums that we have now. That's
we did. We had the Rose Bowl. We still had the stadiums. We're not even look at even in '94. The only college football stadium we used was the Rose Bowl. We used all NFL stadiums for that one too. We didn't even touch all. Like I went to the game in Auburn, Iceland, Argentina. I was at that game. Thank you, BetTix. Dude, 88,000, and you could definitely host a World Cup game in there. We haven't touched Michigan. We haven't touched South Bend. We haven't touched, Alabama or FSU or any of these big college football stadiums or South Carolina Gamecocks or Clemson. I mean, that's just how much infrastructure we have here. It's ridiculous. So yeah, this is the most profitable World Cup, and every game's been sold out. And the fans, like you said, Jamie, spot on. They discovered Buc-ee's, and oh my god, right? I mean, we've all seen the videos how the fans. I would say, hey, look, if you want to hate America, watch news. If you want to love America, travel it. This World Cup has done more to debunk the last decade or two worth of BS we've been hearing how we should hate our country. In just these 6 weeks, it's been ridiculous. It's been awesome. I knew this was going to happen, though. You can't host a World Cup and have it not happen. Even in Qatar, people had a blast in Qatar, and Qatar actually ended up not being as bad as what people said. You guys got to understand one thing. I know Joe knows this. Every host nation gets a bad rap before the World Cup. Brazil got it, Qatar got it, South Africa got it, Germany got it, and then the World Cup happens, and it's like, this is actually pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The only thing that's different between the U.S. and Germany, let's say, hosting it, or like next time it's going to be Spain. Was it Spain, Portugal,
And Morocco.
and Morocco, which hits North Africa, right? And then the 3 countries in South America get opening games for the 100th anniversary. The only difference is like Germany, South Africa, Qatar all had to build stadiums. Oh, Saudi Arabia, they're getting the World Cup actually after the next one. That's what it is. That's where your Middle East was going to be. They're having to build stadiums. And you look at these stadiums now in most of these countries, they're unused. They're literally falling apart. They're parking lots for city or bus companies. You know, that's the difference. But I'm not surprised that when these guys came to SoFi, and like they found this building was $5 billion to build, and they were like, you watch these British soccer fans, and they're like, $5 billion? What in the holy hell? $5 billion? And then they go in, and it's like, oh, the light shines down on them, the beam of light, and they're just like, or when people went to Atlanta, and like, this has got to be the best, or even NRG, Jerry's World, all these teams, they're just blown away, and like, why can't we have this? And there are some that are like that. Allianz is like that for Bayern Munich. Barca Stadium is like that in Madrid. There are a couple, not in England really, but this has been a great tournament for the U.S. and just the amount of money. And when you think about cities like Chicago and Minnesota pulled out because they couldn't get guarantees from FIFA on all kinds of extra taxes they want to put on, so they said no. Think of all the money those cities have lost. How much money did Boston make with the Tartan Army? And by the way, Jamie, what a love affair that's been up in your neck of the woods, right? I mean, I know you're not really in Boston, but it's close enough to you. What a love affair up there in the New England area with the Tartan Army in the city of Boston, right?
And you know what? Boston's going to host Morocco and France on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the Tartan Army. That's the thing. Like the Tartan Army. Did you see the ad that the city of Boston took out to thank the Tartan Army, and then the video the Tartan Army sent back? Like, there's a love affair going on, guys. Miami didn't welcome the Tartan Army that much. And what about the Norway fans? Everywhere they go with the row. I mean, like.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and you know what I really love is how you got some of these American football fans like, oh, soccer's for a bunch of peas. You know, they can't take it's not physical. And now they're watching these games and seeing just how physical it is. And they're going, oh, wait a minute. When you watch a guy get his leg snapped in the Canada game, you're like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of padding do these guys have?
Yeah, how about the golfer Hovland doing the row after he won the golf tournament? He won what did he win? The U.S.
Travelers.
What's that?
Travelers,
yeah.
Jamie Winston. Cool. Jameis Winston out there doing this stuff. He's partied with everyone, with the Denmark. He's partied with the Orange. He's partied with the Brazilians. He's partied with the Norwegians. That dude is having the time of his life. Like, he never plays another NFL game. He'd care less after this World Cup experience. Ocho Cinco was onto something, maybe, right?
In terms of players or teams, what has been the biggest storyline? Because there are a lot of storylines. You know, Lionel Messi becoming the World Cup all-time goal scorer. That's until Kylian Mbappe eventually breaks it. England getting that gutty win in Azteca on Sunday night with 10 men. France looking like the favorite, despite despite
This
Paraguay doing some dirty things. You know what? Norway, Erling Haaland looking like he's a beast, or potential Spain passing around. Maybe Portugal. You know why Portugal just wasted a whole era of great midfielders and Roberto Martinez continues to use 99-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe the U.S. Or maybe the one thing that we as consumers of football don't like anymore.
VAR.
Oh my God.
I think VAR. We can talk about the controversy, but I think the story of this World Cup. I mean, there's several. Cabo Verde. The small countries doing well. Egypt today. Wow, just wow. But honestly, it's Erling Haaland. It's Haaland. Point blank. Period. End of story. I mean, this is the guy. Like, yeah, we know Messi's great. He's the all-time great, and Kylian Mbappe is great. Okay, no, Norway is not great. They are great though because of one man. And the dude, he plays like Messi. If you watch him, he doesn't run a lot like Messi. When he touches the ball, it's a goal, and everyone else around him scores goals and is better just because he's literally on the field. Norway is really the story here. And here's the thing: like I said earlier, they're playing so free because even Haaland said, they asked him in the group stage, well, how do you feel about this game with France? I don't care. I could care less. They're going to win the whole tournament, right? And then he's out in Texas buying hats and kiss my Dallas T-shirts and whatever. Dude, it's this team. They are the story that Americans love. They're the underdog with one really good guy who's really likable. How do you not like this guy?
Mhm.
They're the story that, and I think all the smaller nations. I mean, there's so many different stories to pull from, but if they win the World Cup, that's the story.
Joe.
I got two things to say as far as top stories. One of them, I'm going to piggyback on what was just said. I always wonder, how are the superstars going to show up in a World Cup? You get sometimes where they shine, and you get sometimes where they're not at their best. Maybe they win Champions League, maybe they win a Premier League title or something. But sometimes they fade in the World Cup. This World Cup has been about those superstars. You're talking about Holland, talking about Mbappe of France, Harry Kane on England. These are the superstars of 2026. And boy, have they showed up. I mean, Harry Kane single-handedly got England past South Africa. They were losing that game, and Harry Kane said, screw this. We're not losing this game. Get on my back. I'm going. And he scores 2 goals, and they win the game, and that was that. And again,
Hey, Joe,
Holland.
can I add to your point?
Yeah.
With England, it's not just like that Kane showed up. And this is maybe a 180 or 1 year, but like the other guys like Bellingham, the future stars, also stepping up with their stars.
That's a good point. And the second thing I was totally against adding the extra teams to the World Cup and creating this round of 32, that we have now. I'm eating my words at this point, because to get more knockout games and to get the quality of knockout games that we've had, I'm all in. Yeah, I think that's the big story, is how badly watered down was the World Cup going to be with all these small countries that weren't going to do anything. And, again, a watered down product. Well, those small countries showed up and made it very exciting and almost knocked the champs out. And again, these knockout games have been absolutely incredible. And again, I was wrong about that. I'll admit it, with all our millions of viewers here. And I count me in going forward. I don't put any more, but I think the way it is now, I was wrong about it. I think it was a smart move to do it this way now.
Curacao was the only small nation team that didn't really do anything.
Qatar.
Others, yeah. Well, good. Yeah, but then Qatar, they probably would have qualified. Well, maybe not. but they were the hosts last year. You'd expect it last time. You'd expect they would have qualified. But yeah, I mean, Joe's 100% right. All these the adding of these teams actually work. The format works. I think it's good that you're getting more teams into this tournament. And you know what? Maybe the storyline, Joe, isn't necessarily the stars as much as how good the whole world is in general catching up. Like the powerhouses, dude, like you may be a powerhouse, but oh, by the way, here comes Egypt, who
Right.
isn't known for having a massive pro league that's really top tier, who doesn't have many guys in top tier programs. All the things that we say we're missing here, or Capo Verde, or some of these other small teams have done well. Norway, per capita, has less people playing than us. Look what they're doing. Maybe that's the story. Maybe that's the story. Like the powerhouses that the world is catching up. The game is global, but you don't have to be in the Premier League or the Bundesliga or La Liga playing for the UFL the Champions League every year to have absolute stud teams that can unthrone a World Cup champion.
Jamie, what's your biggest story of the World Cup? It could be good, bad, ugly, what?
What I was going to say, the 48 teams, and you got to remember yes, it is. It is. What is it? It's the. I think it's 2018. I think we didn't qualify for the World Cup. The U.S. didn't, which I think that's why they may have voted for the 48 after 2022. I bet you we're one of the teams that probably voted for it because of that. And but what I was going to say is, we made it to the Sweet 16, but guess what? That's a lot different now with the 48 teams, because you got to remember, before making it to the round of 16, that was just getting out of the group stage, and that was one and done. But that's not one and done anymore, because it's 32 in the group stage of 48. That's the only good thing about it.
Yeah, it's hard to judge teams based on going out in the round 32, round 16, because there's an extra game before the round of 16 now.
I like that. I thought that was great.
And there were some great games.
Drama. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's your answer to that question?
I honestly think it's just crazy how all the stars have come to shine. Kylian Mbappe scoring 7 goals for France. Erling Haaland, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham. They're not literally not just scoring goals, but not letting Mexico get any goals. Messi doing everything.
Yeah.
Everything. But I think what's also maybe not as talked of a story. Look what's happening with some of the giants in world football. Italy hasn't made the last 3 World Cups.
Jeez.
I can't believe I'm saying that. Germany lost on penalties to Paraguay. The Dutch lost to Morocco. Brazil lost to Norway. Are we going through an era where some of the world's biggest superpowers in football are losing their grip on the game? Yes, you look at the quarterfinal. We got France, Morocco, Spain, Belgium, England, Norway, Argentina, Switzerland. You know what 4 of those sides have in common? France, Spain, England, and Argentina. You know what those four nations have in common? They've all won World Cups. You know what the other 4 have? Haven't even been to. I don't think they've been to.
Morocco was to the semis last time, right? I mean,
and 22.
Yeah, Morocco's a pretty good side. Don't throw them in shade, dude. They've been pretty good.
Now England has won, but they haven't won since I've been alive. So
1966.
That's it. That's when I was born. For some reason, I don't remember that World Cup victory.
I don't think people want to remember that either, but that's a story for another day. You know, for whatever reason, there've been controversial moments in games. Maybe I think we saw one in the Egypt, a couple in the Egypt Argentina game where VAR took away a goal
Today.
for a questionable foul, and then VAR didn't look at potential penalty where then Argentina ended up scoring on the ensuing play. What has been the most befuddling or head scratching play? Maybe Flo Balogun's controversial red card last week. Maybe another play that you've seen. Maybe Lionel Messi should have been sent off against Algeria. But what's been the most questionable play that you guys have seen, Jamie?
This might be controversial, but anything goes on open sports, Mike. About that BS red card. What was this, Tyler?
You mean Flo Balogun, right?
Yeah, and then our president obviously gave FIFA, a little TLC with that, and he was able to come back. So.
And maybe the red card inspired Belgium because for whatever reason the U.S. never looked right. So, Ken, what do you get? So
look at what Tyler the Flower wrote here as a comment. It's kind of nasty, but
I'm happy we're talking about this because there's so many misconceptions about this crap, right? Like President Trump called, and oh my God, it's his fault. The U.S. lost, and people making this political thing, dude. You know how many world leaders call the president of FIFA to lobby on behalf of their nation's team every World Cup, every major tournament? And look, if they have a process which it goes through a committee, a review committee, if you will, and of people from several different nations. They reviewed it, and really, this is what we still have to see. Because I think the red card that was issued in the England game is another one that they may suspend the suspension on, because when you look at that play, it was definitely not trying to hurt the player. In fact, his foot rolled on top of the ball. The ball helped create that issue. It was good. It was basically a clean tackle where circumstances happened. The Bellingham, the Balogun red card. Everyone after it happened, the entire world said this should not have been a red card. And the second the suspension was suspended by FIFA, oh my God, this is a great injustice. You just said it was an injustice to even give the card. Okay, the president calling had zero to do with it because Infantino had zero input on this process. It's designed that way by FIFA to ensure that something like that would never happen. And you know what? I had a lot of respect for Belgian fans until after the game yesterday. A lot of them started with their little BS antics that were political in nature. I was like, you know what? I hope you get smoked by Spain. Because we played, the first thing I did when the game was over, I congratulated some people who were cheering for Belgium. And then they came back, well, Trump this, Trump that. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. I hope Spain kills you. Because Trump had zero to do with it. I think the bigger question we should be, as football fans, is why is VAR being used like this? Why isn't Messi given a card? Why is Flo Balogun given a card? Why is I can't remember who it was from England who got the card. And then also with those cards, they can only use still shot and super slow-mo. They can't look at game speed. They can't look at intent. They're limited in what they can do. They're not getting a proper sight picture. That's the bigger question. I really think the England red card should get the same treatment as the
Ken, let me tell you this. I watched basically every second of that game, and the two broadcasters who are English said that was a red card. I think Wampa definitely went over the ball. Went over the ball. It's showing it's a red card.
I don't think because part of the red card rule, it's intent to harm. Look at yellow card maybe, but there have been a lot of people who I've seen British podcasters and broadcasters alike saying it shouldn't have been a red card. I mean, there's always going to be a couple who are going to say it's a red card. I think where the British Football Association made a mistake, or where the member of the House of Commons in her letter to FIFA made a mistake was, is she said it was a red card offense. On that offense, maybe not. But honestly, I think they should suspend it just on the fact that VAR should never have been used for that to begin with.
I'm going to say two things about that whole thing. First of all, you are starting a bad trend if you start reversing these red card decisions. Now, again, I agree that on the American player, that was not a red card situation, and it shouldn't have been called that. But once it was, he should not have been allowed back in that game. Once it was determined, oh, it's red, we're keeping it that way. That's it. Same with anybody else.
Well, Joe, though, he was kicked out of the game, but like don't we always complain that we don't correct problems in sport? FIFA's rules committee, right, or whatever the name of that committee is that looks at these to say, hey, is it going to be a 1 game or a 3 game? Because remember, that same committee could have made it a 3 game suspension if it deemed fit. Why are we mad that this committee corrected a wrong, an injustice, and they can't fix the game? That's happened. But they fixed what they could fix and corrected injustice. Why would we be mad at that they corrected a wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. Just because I think you're starting a negative standard.
And you're usually all for, though, Joe, getting the call right. You say this all the time with me.
Well, that's where I'm going right now, is VAR has gone too far, okay? And just like Jamie said, I am all in on replay in every sport, and I would never want it to go away. And yes, I want the right call. But VAR is stepping in ways, in areas that there's no way that they should be stepping in. And today's game is an example. There's other sports, football, baseball, hockey, whatever. And you have a challenge system. And I honestly think that's my solution to this. You do the same thing in soccer that you do in all these other sports. You don't have just a referee think, oh, yeah, I'm going to look at this or I'm not going to look at that. You leave it up to the team. And if you think something should have been a red card, all right, have them look at it. If you think something's offside, have them take a look at it. Otherwise, VAR is just interfering and it's ruining the game, in my opinion. Because every time I see a goal being scored, especially by a team I'm rooting for or that I bet on, it's like, holy crap, what's going to be the thing that makes it come back now? Wait, is it really a goal? Wait, I'm looking. Do I see flags? Do I see, this? Do I see what went wrong with this? Every time somebody scores, I'm looking to see what the heck, why is this not going to count?
And I mean, look,
it should not be that way. It's hard enough to score in soccer anyway. So my suggestion, do a challenge system. You want to challenge that call? Challenge it. You only get so many. And just like all the other sports. And I think that's how it should work because it's getting way out of hand. And again, like today's situation where Egypt got screwed out of that goal, the guy had a toe on him, for crying out loud. That really had no impact on the play whatsoever. And they challenged it. They just decided for some stupid reason that they had to look at it. And by a toenail, they decided that, that's not
the rules are too touchy too, like in these red card situations. First off, you can always go back to why wasn't Messi given a red card for the exact same thing? Why was Ronaldo's red card suspension lifted by the same committee so he just missed a friendly but could be at the World Cup? Look, there's some issues here that FIFA needs to work out because like some of the way the rules, like, dude, you can have a complete accident, but they're charging you for murder for an accident. Right, in some of these cases. In the English red card, I guess would be an example of that. Like, there was no intent to harm. There was no intent to foul. It was a clean play. I have a feeling they'll – and look, I think FIFA will suspend his 1-game suspension, to be honest with you. And I think they do so for a couple of reasons. One, spirit, intent, the way VAR was used, and also it cleans up the Balogun issue for them. Say, look, it's not just a Balogun. Trump had nothing to do with it. It kind of centers the ship a little bit more. But Joe's right in the total. I do like that every goal is looked at VAR. But then again, like, dude, I don't care. The guy was offside 50 yards away and had nothing to do with the play. So now we're going to invalidate the goal. Really? 99.9% of the guy's body was over, but this little part of his elbow right here was offsides, therefore negate the goal. Okay, now you're getting a little chintzy with it. Even the NHL's in that chintzy with their blue line. There are some things that they need to look at. But now look at FIFA does. I'll give FIFA credit; they do make improvements based off feedback from tournaments. So I think we'll see some changes.
Yep, hope so. But again, if you don't look at you don't go to VAR for the goal unless a team requests it, and that's.
I mean,
the NFL goes to replay for every single score, anyways, to verify.
I mean,
I don't mind that they're looking for the offsides, but they're looking for other fouls. I agree that at that point, it should be a challenge. There should be some kind of a team challenge plan.
Right.
I mean, I look back to that Bills Bronco playoff game, and to this day, I'm not sure anyone could know whether or not Brandon Cooks caught the ball or that was an interception. Because if
The
that
league admitted, Dylan, that they got it wrong, and they said it was a catch, actually.
I mean, VAR, for the most part, has not been terrible. I do like some of the innovations, like the referee cam is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do like that they have a dedicated team, but I don't like how, like, we've seen in 2 red card situations or 3 red card situations, actually, where they stop play because we'll look at something that happened back here. I mean, I get it. At the same time, though, I think you're destroying the game a little bit with it. They're trying to manage the game too much. Like, you've got to let it play free a little bit. Because, like, in the NFL in the playoffs, the refs kind of almost don't exist, right? I mean, they do, but they don't. I think FIFA needs to look at it almost the same way with VAR. Like, dude, you can't VAR every aspect of every play of every game.
Well, that's the thing. In the NFL, if a guy scores a touchdown, they don't review that. They don't call the touchdown back. Because, oh, wait, we looked at 10 yards down the field. He was holding. So, yeah, that's not a touchdown. And that's how it's going too far in soccer.
They do that in the UFL, though. You can challenge if there was holding on the play and it can wipe out a touchdown.
Yeah, but don't look for things. If there was not a foul called before a goal, don't go to VAR. Oh, wait a minute, there was a foul there. Again, if a team wants to challenge that, go for it. But don't go looking. It's different if a red card is called, okay, and then they go to VAR and realize, yeah, that's not quite a red card foul, so we're going to knock it down to a yellow. That's one thing. But to go looking to try to turn a yellow card into a red, I think that's going
or a no call into a red.
Right? So,
all right,
that's too much.
I've got a couple World Cup questions for you guys. Do you want the fun one? Do you want the fun one, the really fun one, or the really, really fun one?
Let them rip, Gator Chip.
I don't know if I get any of these, so
okay,
either one.
Okay. When was the first World Cup penalty shootout?
Ooh. Was it before? Wait.
Question.
I'll give you a hint. It was before I was born.
Was it before I was born?
No, after you were born.
Okay. Because I was going to ask, was it before or after the Pele era?
After Pele, but before me.
1980 Spain.
1982 World Cup semifinal between France and West Germany went to penalties.
Wow.
One of the greatest games ever played.
I always
That
get
was
my
the
years
first
off
one?
by 1 or 2. Was that Spain, though? Was that in Spain?
In Spain, yes.
At least I had the
All right, here's the trivia. Who won that World Cup?
Italy.
That's right.
Because we beat West Germany in the final.
Right. That's the first World Cup I watched, actually.
Nice.
Like I watched
so
most of that tournament. I was 16, so
I watched 82.
Yeah, final at the Burning Bayou. My memory serves me right.
And wait, Joe, you probably watched it like I did back then on Telemundo.
I believe I did.
Yeah, because there's the only way you could watch it.
Yeah.
It wasn't our state. We didn't speak Spanish, but we could watch the game.
Yep. I know Spanish now, but I didn't know it back when I was 16. Although these announcers talk so fast, my daughter's like, "Do you know what they're saying?" And it's like, for the most part, I catch things here and there, but a lot of it goes right over my head, even though I speak Spanish. It's like they're too fast.
Okay, so what stadium has hosted a World Cup final, a Super Bowl, and a college football national championship?
Come on, there's only one answer. It's even humanly possible. It's the Rose Bowl.
I'm gonna inject you 10.
Because look at the Rose Bowl is the only college stadium ever used in a World Cup. We're the only team that does college sport. Only nation does college sports. You only have 2 World Cups that the U.S. have hosted, and the last one was in the United States with the Rose Bowl, where, by the way, Argentina beats Italy MPK when Roberto Baggio skies it.
You mean Brazil beat Italy?
Yeah, Brazil beat Italy.
It was Brazil.
Yeah, Roberto Baggio skies it. I mean that one, like, if you watch soccer at all, that's super easy. I expect better out of Dylan.
By the way, the Cotton Bowl was also used during that World Cup.
Oh, the U.S. finished the same way in that World Cup they did in this one.
Losing to Brazil, my memory serves me right. By the way, which Brazilian player got a red card for elbowing one of all players in the round of 16 game?
Well, that I don't remember.
Leonardo.
Who was it?
Leonardo.
Okay, I didn't remember.
Elbowed Ramos, and he ended up getting suspended for 4 games. Ramos ended up being in the hospital.
Wow.
You know who my favorite Brazilian player was? You had both of them. You had Ronaldo, but then you had Ronaldinho with the crazy hair.
Oh, Ronaldinho, yeah. Who ended up playing for like Barcelona, I think, or something.
Yeah.
And tell me that Nike commercial they did that year with Zinzendane, with the devil and all that, with the compost in the goal, was probably one of the best Nike commercials ever for a World Cup.
Okay, so you guys have any World Cup questions for me?
I don't know if they're the only team to do this, but if I am not mistaken, this team was runner-up 2 World Cups in a row.
That'd be Holland in 74 and 78.
There you go. That's
so
it.
West Germany and Argentina.
Very good.
Why I know that? I'm like.
And why did you know that fast? What the heck?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I think West Germany hosted 74 World Cup because 70 was in Mexico, and then of course 70 was in Argentina. And we know what happened in the final then. I think 74 would have been Johan Cruyff, rest in peace. Oh boy, yeah. Maybe I wonder what he would have thought about the Dutch play the other night when the Dutch played so defensive against Morocco, but that's even the other thing.
Now, they went to a final recently, didn't they?
2010, and we know what 2010, where Nigel de Jong kung fu kicked Xabi Alonso and somehow didn't get red carded. Andres Iniesta scored the winner. There were a lot of yellows. I think Johnny Heitinga was dismissed, and it was an ugly game.
And would they lose to that game?
Spain. 1-0 in Johannesburg.
Okay.
And I'm not looking at Google right now. I'm just looking at you. I'm just looking at you guys.
Oh no, I believe you. I've watched probably more World Cups, but I know you know far more. Can you think there's been so many? I mean, even this year, is there a World Cup game that's like your favorite, like most exciting or favorite World Cup game you've ever seen? I could tell you one myself, but I'll let any of you guys answer that. It's a very difficult question.
Oh, it's easy for me. Brazil. The Brazil World Cup. Germany 7, Brazil 1. Loved every second of that game.
Well, I'll let you think about it. Now, this wasn't even a final game or anything like that. Now, I always say, if I'm not rooting for the U.S. in the World Cup, England is my next favorite team, simply because I watch the Premier League. That's the soccer league that I watch the most, and so I root for them. And it was 1998. I think that this was in France, and they were playing Argentina. I think it was a quarterfinal game.
Round of 16. I know which game I know what you're talking about. Michael
Right.
Owen's goal when he looked like an Argentine player.
They score. Yeah. Well, England lost this game, actually. It went penalty kicks. They had some guy on this team that was a young player and, a little uncontrolled. His name was David Beckham. You may or may not have heard of him.
Ooh.
But he got a red card in that game. I don't remember what he did to get the red card. I don't know if it was a tackle or something.
Diego Simone flopped his way into getting Beckham sent off.
Or an Argentina flopper. But this game had everything. And, I think it was 1-1. And then it went extra time and penalty kicks. And it was just one of those games that was just fun to watch. I was very much into it. A lot of drama. Again, a lot of crazy stuff, and no VAR back then to, prevent Beckham from being, red carded there.
The hand of God goal.
That was it. What was that?
The hand of God goal.
Maradona. Well, that was like in 86.
That was in Mexico. Yeah. But imagine VAR was around then.
Oh, yeah, that's Argentina. Argentina ended up winning that cup, right?
Yeah, Maradona would have been the global phenomenon he was. VAR had been around back then.
And God only knows who would have won. I don't remember. They played Italy in that final, was it? Or Germany?
West Germany, because Argentina and West Germany played in 86 and 90.
Okay. Because I remember watching the game live, but this 98 game in France was, probably if I had a favorite that's kind of obscure, again, not a final or anything like that, that's one I remember more than any. Again, there's millions of them, but that one always stands out for some reason.
So many great games. You've been blessed with good football, man.
You got one yet, Dylan?
I think I have one involved in the U.S.
Okay.
2002, probably the last round of 16 win against Mexico by our favorite scoreline, 2-0.
Oh, 2014. Yep.
No, 2002.
2002. And that one was in Korea, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in South
Korea
Korea.
and Japan. Asia. I'd say. And
that was the first World Cup that saw split hosting with 2 nations. This was the first World Cup with 3 nations hosting. The next World Cup will be the first one with 6 nations hosting.
Wow.
But here, let me ask a question. Let me get you guys' thought on this, though. The next World Cup has 6 hosts, right? You have Morocco, Spain, and
Portugal.
Thank you. But you have 3 South American nations that get to host their initial game in South America, right? I forgot which 3 countries it is off the top of my head. Technically, should that be considered hosting a World Cup because you're playing official World Cup matches, or at least a match in that country? Do they automatically qualify? I mean, do So for FIFA's hosting criteria, does that count for South America? They have 3 nations hosting the game. Should that count as hosting the World Cup for them next time?
Well, yeah, that's why the 2034 World Cup is going to be in Saudi Arabia because South America, Europe, and Africa won't be able to host.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That means that in 12 years, the cup will be back. The only eligible continent would be North America.
Could be
Right.
Australia. Could be
I
Australia.
was going to say,
but
you wonder if
Australia won't have
Australia would have it.
Australia won't get it because they could, but you've got 2 or 3 major cities, maybe. I mean, they could get it, but
New
dude,
Zealand?
FIFA's gonna go where the money is, and where's the money?
Australia and New Zealand?
Yeah, I was going to say you could do Australia, New Zealand. Australia's got a lot of different cities that you could, they have. Obviously, everybody knows Sydney, Melbourne, but you got Perth, you got, Brisbane, and then again, you could go New Zealand. Didn't even think about that. Although the distances are pretty far. I mean, from like Melbourne to Perth is like almost, I think, from New York to LA are kind of, similar. So, I mean, they're distances, but I could see that happening, but I'd rather have it here, obviously.
Well,
And,
FIFA's going to go where the money is.
Right. And especially this tournament is going to end up being the most successful one ever. So I certainly wouldn't put it past them trying to get back here in 12 years.
Their biggest 2 World Cups in history in terms of finance, ranked 1 and 2 will be the U.S. and then the U.S. I mean, I'll tell you what, though. You know what I love about this World Cup? It's shown the NFL that something is possible. That they can play on natural grass surfaces in every stadium in the NFL.
I've been saying that for 30 years, but
me too, since the last World Cup when they did it in Detroit in the dome there. But now the technology's gotten so much better and so much cheaper. They can maintain an NRG Field, Jerry's World. All these dome stadiums could have natural grass.
Right.
And Barcelona even showed you how you can grow it on site underneath the stadium with the way they built their stadium.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing this World Cup has shown. The NFL is making money off this World Cup. Bet your bottom dollar. Because we just got to showcase to the world the NFL did its cathedrals. And that's going to draw people to watch NFL football games because they want to see what this thing was built for. Right?
I mean, like 30, 40 million people watched the U.S.-Belgium game last night.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some interest in these stadiums. People are going to come and watch sporting events there now, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend who went to the England DR Congo game.
Where was that one?
Atlanta.
Okay.
I was in Atlanta for that game, actually. That was like a couple weeks ago, right? Yeah, I was in Atlanta. I did a pregame thing through VetTix for that game. That was pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, but you can play indoor grass on all these stadiums. I hope the NFL adopts it. And definitely at MetLife.
Mm-hmm. I would love to see it. I don't think they will. But speaking of Atlanta, I was a big Atlanta United fan in MLS. And my regret is that I did not go to Mercedes-Benz to see Atlanta United in their heyday when Almiron was a real player and they had all these other guys, Joseph Martinez and all those guys.
I think Brad Guzan would have been the goalie if my memory is correct.
Of course. Yeah, well, he was the goalie until like a year or two ago. But yeah, that was one of the big factors that got me into MLS. And still, I consider Atlanta United probably to be my favorite team, even though they're god awful now. But that's my regret is I didn't get to Mercedes-Benz Stadium when they were in their heyday, winning championships and stuff like that.
Question for everyone: is Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy tainted because he'll never win a World Cup?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Is Cristiano Ronaldo's legacy tainted at all because Portugal won't win a World Cup while he's there?
No, he's not the first. He won't be the last Greek player to get a cup.
Yeah, as much as I am anti-Ronaldo, I don't think you should tarnish his legacy for that, because it's not all on him. I mean, I think there's something there, to be honest, but I don't think. I mean, he's still amazing. One of the best ever, and
But
as
then you
much
could
as
say like Zlatan. It's his tarnish because he never got a World Cup, but he's probably one of the best strikers to ever play the game. I mean, you have to have a good look at Norway. This is the first time they're getting to a World Cup. Let's say they didn't qualify because under the old system they might not have qualified. Haaland, we might never have seen Erling Haaland make a World Cup because of the qualifications, right? Would that have tarnished him as being one of the most prolific goal scorers in football history? I don't think. I don't think it's like the Super Bowl. I mean, it's a hard thing to win. Is Philip Rivers any less of a great quarterback because his team was never good enough to get to a Super Bowl? Is Barry Sanders any less of a Hall of Famer because he never got to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, I would put players ahead of other people. Like if you're comparing Ronaldo and Messi, like a lot of people do, I'm putting Messi ahead of him simply because he's got the World Cup. Again, quarterbacks. Philip Rivers is a Hall of Famer, but I would put others ahead of him simply because they have won Super Bowls. But I don't think you tarnish the legacy, because they haven't.
I think in the end, we'll still remember Ronaldo as one of the greatest goal scorers. The fact that Ronaldo played at 40 for his country at 41, maybe it hurts him a little bit, but I don't think it was Ronaldo. I mean, maybe Roberto Martinez hurt Ronaldo by playing him, but that's even there.
But you got some records out there too. Like, didn't Harry Kane just break the goal record for World Cup?
England, at the World Cup.
Pele's record. Now, England's probably never going to win a World Cup with Harry Kane.
Who knows? They might. I mean,
they could. I'd love to see it. But again, if they don't, does that take away from Kane's record? I mean, he's got that record forever, and he's one of the best. So, and you can't take that from him just because he doesn't win a World Cup if it turns out that way. So that's another side to that question there. Good question.
Okay, before we go, I want to ask Jamie in particular about baseball. Yankees lost 6-4 tonight. Do you what? Not quite a month from the trade deadline. Do the Yankees need starting pitching, bullpen, or bats? Because right now the Yankees seem to be stuck in neutral right now. Oh, heck, defense, because it seems like the Yankees defense has been a bit shady. I mean, Volpe made an error this past weekend. I mean, what do you think the Yankees need before the deadline?
They could trade for a couple more bats. I think they gotta they could upgrade the bullpen because, like I said, their starting pitching is good. They're deep. They're deep. They're deep with starting pitching. Even in the minor leagues, they're deep, and they're deep with their bullpen now. But I would add more bullpen or a starter. But it's not like. But I would try to get more bats along with some pitching because their pitching's already good right now.
And then, unfortunately, Joe, the Mets can't seem to get anything right. But what big name, maybe not Met wise, but just in general, do you think could get traded between now and August 3rd?
As far as Mets players being traded?
Or just in general, baseball?
Well, you hear the names of Skubal thrown around there. That's probably the biggest name that I think is going to be moved. Now, again, as far as the Mets are concerned, pretty much anybody is on the block, minus some of the young studs and minus Juan Soto. I recently have heard Lindor's name thrown around. because they say the rift with him and Soto is not gone away and probably won't. That I was told by a source in New York there, Mike Francesa, who's on WFAN radio, that he thinks that the Mets are going to try really hard to make a deal for Lindor. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But as far as ones that I would bank on happening, probably more likely than not, Skubal would be the top name that comes to mind.
And if School ends up getting moved, it's to which team?
I could see him going to a place like, I don't know, Philadelphia or Atlanta.
For this might be me. Part of me wants to see School in Milwaukee. The Brewers haven't been to the World Series since 1982. They've got a great farm system.
Mm-hmm.
Made the big move to get CC Sabathia in 2008. Maybe the Brewers make a big move and go Mizorowski, School, and Harrison. Let's go, LA.
I would love to see it. I would rather he go there than like Philadelphia or Atlanta or Boston or any of those places. But
Or LA.
I would say, yeah, because the Yankees and LA are always possibilities. But I think the Yankees, Jamie was just talking about, and we always talk about on our podcast, how deep the Yankees starting rotation is. And for what they would have to give up for Skubal as a potential rental, I don't think it's worth it. And I think Jamie would agree with me on that. But
yes, I do.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers could get anybody. That could possibly happen. And if they do, well, then I'm just going to stop watching and say, give them the trophy right now. But I could see more of, again, some of the ones that I mentioned. I would love to see Milwaukee. But if I had a guess, the Braves would be probably my first guess.
Well,
Phillies, maybe.
The Yankees have 3 or 4 guys on the IL right now. Max Fried, Rodon, a couple other guys. And, Garrett Cole hasn't been quite himself. I mean, Cam Schlitter last night was fantastic. But, Will Warren wasn't great tonight. Maybe the Yankees decide, we need Derek Skubal.
Well, here's somebody in the room right now. I know a team in the Midwest that's having some pitching issues because of injuries. Cubs, maybe?
I haven't been paying enough attention, man. I've been so not paying attention to baseball.
Okay.
Honestly, it's hard, especially living where I live, to pay attention to baseball. Because if I don't make an effort to pay attention, I'm gonna be lost in the sauce. And I've been too busy with the World Cup since the draft and free agency to even care about baseball, honestly.
Okay. Well, I was telling Dylan backstage, I mean, my team is the biggest joke in sports, but of all the years for that to happen, it's this one, because I've watched 3 Mets games probably in the last 2 months. I'm a Knicks fan and my team just won the championship. So I've been watching that all the way through. And then once that ended, World Cup's been amazing. And I've been focusing on that too. But I wonder if the Cubs would be in that conversation too. But I was going to say, what is this, 2027? How could you not pay attention to baseball? But I don't think any of us are in 2027, but that's for a different time and place, I guess.
Yeah, I've been too locked in on other things, unfortunately.
Yep.
Or fortunately. However you want to look at that. Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? Maybe things are gonna change. Oh, by the way, guys, I don't know if wait, hold on, let me see what you guys are doing this Thursday night. But sorry, I'm gonna add you back. Let me see if I can. You've seen. Yeah, this is what I plan to do. We plan on doing a trivia showdown, Big Rich versus the Big D this Thursday night for my birthday. So, what do you guys think of my chances of beating Rich?
Well, you both know your stuff, and I'll be honest, you both blow me away. I mean, I know a lot, but you guys are far above and beyond me. Yeah, I mean, you got a shot because you're unstumpable a lot of the time. But I don't know, Rich knows his stuff too, so you got your work cut out for you. And happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday.
I mean, so what do you? I mean, you think I have a chance? Or you think
We
Rich?
do.
Oh, I definitely think you have a chance. Yes.
Any given Sunday. Of course you have a chance.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, what do you think I should be studying the next 2 days in case we have that trivia-thon on Thursday?
You two pull out the most.
Is it all sports?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what you could study. It's like with my students, they say, "What should I study for the final exam?" I mean, just go over what it's hard to explain because we're the final exams on everything we've talked about all year. So how do you study that?
You should study why in Rich's mind the white box during baseball games isn't accurate and why the ABS isn't accurate. Because he always says that. Rich always says that. It makes me so bad.
And how Derek Jeter wasn't hit by, and how
he was overrated if he wasn't playing for the Yankees. Yeah.
And how Derek Jeter wasn't hit by that pitch so many times, but that's here near there, right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell you what to study when it could be on anything from any sport.
Yeah. You're on your own with that one, brother.
Just do some meditation beforehand and open your mind and clear your head and I guess be ready.
Dude, go dig out some NASL facts on him. He won't remember the NASL.
You know what? Last week I don't think you guys were here, but Adam asked Rich and me what we would want, what category we would want. I think Rich said NASCAR, but let me tell you, my NASCAR brain's up to date. Guess what sport I requested? And you will be surprised. Well, maybe you won't, but maybe. No.
I don't know.
Golf.
Ooh. But now let's backtrack a few seconds here. You said NASL. Are you talking like soccer?
No. Like all the main sports.
No. He was asking me about the NASL. Yeah, NASL. I was actually at the NASL championship game in Toronto, Chicago Sting versus New York Cosmos. That, by the way, that game was decided on penalty kicks. The game winner, scored by Rudy Glenn, his house was like 2 blocks from my high school, and I used to go by his house and talk to him all the time.
Wow, because that's when I first started watching soccer. Giorgio Canaglia, and the New York Cosmos.
A poster of him in our basement.
That's great. Late 70s. And the Cosmos won like 2 championships. And
late 70s, early 80s, because that's like Pele played for the Cosmos during that time.
Yeah, I started watching just after he left. So, Canaglia was the star. Steve Hunt, I think, was one of the guys.
Yep. The soccer bowl in 1980 in Toronto, I was there. I actually wore a few of the championship rings from players. We were season ticket holders, so I knew most of that team. Or like my mom and Pato Merhedic were like both from Argentina, and whipping up a storm, and I knew a lot of the players. One of my favorites was Arnold Steffenhagen. He was a German national. He was one of my favorite players on that team. But Tasso Kasukis was on that team. Karl-Heinz Granitza was on that team. Yeah, man. I mean, the NASL, that's when they used to play their games. Like I said, we had season tickets. Part of the season, the games are at Wrigley. The other part of the season, the games were at Old Comiskey Park.
Wow.
By the way, I got one for you. I got one bit of history for you. You guys remember the Doolittle raid and Jimmy Doolittle? Well, his co-pilot, Jimmy Doolittle would actually fly, and his co-pilot for the Doolittle raid was actually in, like, I think, remembered seeing Colonel Doolittle fly his plane around Dayton, Ohio. Just crazy how we have memories, whether it be like the Doolittle Raiders, all these crazy sports facts. All right, guys. So, by the way, you can check out Jamie and Joe doing the what is it? Buffalo. What's the name of your show?
For baseball, it's the Subway Conversation chat.
Subway Conversation, and doing the NFL season, it's
The
Buffalo Sports
Buffalo
Conversation.
Sports Conversation.
Buffalo Sports Conversation every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here, Driving to Top Production. And Ken the Bear fan, I think we can see you, weekdays, 11 or noon, right?
Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Central on Ken and Ken in the morning. That's about, we're not doing a Bear show right now. We'll probably start picking it up again soon, but you can catch all my shows at Talking Sports 18 at X.
And then you can find me all over the place because I don't think I ever sleep. So thanks for hopping in, tuning into today's episode of Open Sports Mic, and we'll be back with more soon. Let me see if I can.